Hey guys, welcome back to FPG. Today we are finally back with some more Bricky, but before we start, two little pieces of information. First off, I finally got my first mini, my Desecrator Dave. I think he's awesome and I like him a lot. I was struggling a lot with him or the Abominant because of, the metal tentacles, the arms, the cool weapon of the Abominant. But in the end, he won out. Also, the next one will finally be my great unclean one. I'm so hyped about it. I can't wait for him. He's so cool, and maybe later we make the great clean one, for something special, and because he's so cursed and I liked him since the first time I saw him. It's a bit of heresy, but you know what? Who cares? And then the second thing, I was gone for forever. It was rough, it was family stuff, I like the channel, I like it a lot, but I do it as a hobby. I started it because it is fun for me. It's a lot of fun, actually. It helped me started to get into new stuff. I played a couple of games I reacted to, I 100%ed them, but family just comes first. It is what it is. Also, Space Marine 2 is coming up. I haven't seen a lot of it recently. I haven't seen the new trailers, anything. But I heard so much good things, and because I'm more into the whole Xenos and everything going on, and less into humanity, that one could really get me started. I'm just really hyped about it. It is so cool. I can't wait to get into it. Can't wait to learn all those new things. I started out with the lore. I started getting miniatures now. I started playing the games. I started all these things finally that I got the time now, and I can't wait to see what is to come. But that's enough for me. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The 40k timeline by Bricky. Go.
The age of knowledge and enlightenment has ended. The age of darkness has begun.
How it should be. How it should be.
Roughly 60 million years ago, there existed aliens. And these aliens lived short, painful lives. They belonged to radiation-stricken worlds
right?
and often died of various cancers before the age of 30. These aliens, the Necron tier, looked up to the stars and found extreme beings of real power. Beings with the ability to create life. The Old Ones of the galaxy. They asked these Old Ones for help. Please cure us of our ailments. To which the Old Ones said, piss off. So the Necron tier gathered together and did the sensible thing.
Classic.
They declared war upon these old beings and were promptly beaten into the dirt back to their short, painful lives. In the world of Warhammer, there is a hell. This hell is not like you and I know it. It's more of an afterlife, a place where dead souls end up. This place has many names: the Empyrean, the Sea of Souls,
the warp, right?
Immaterium, and the Ether. But mostly, we just call it the Warp. Yeah. While you and I know of hell as a place of horrors and punishment, the Warp isn't really that. Not in the beginning. It's energy, but the kind of energy formed from thought and soul, psychic energy, where the dead souls of people end up in a place that is impossible
Starcraft, it's
to
psionic.
understand. No laws of reality exist. Like, time is merely a suggestion,
Legally
and
distinct.
it is not something that can be braved easily. The Warp would be like sailing the ocean in a pirate movie. To jump from your ship would be certain death. To stay in the sea for too long on your boat could drive a man mad. And there are many dangerous things lurking in those depths. Yet, the sea is not evil. It simply is. There are more malevolent beings in those waters, areas that you do not sail towards. This would be known as the realm of chaos. The realm of chaos exists in the Warp as a special area led by three
Okay, one question to you guys. I don't fully get it. I watched this video right now after I haven't looked into lore all that much. I wanted to do it on this channel, not by myself, all of that. I want to read a little bit, but if there's, lore videos, cool stuff, I want to do it on this channel now that I got the time back. But a big question I had is there is this Chaos Realm where the Chaos Gods reside, and there's the Warp. Is it like, he said it's like the sea, so is it like an island in the sea? Or is it, just like half the sea? Is it like a tiny, tiny piece of the Warp? Like a floating island basically on top of the Warp? Or is it something like, yeah, I don't know how to say it better, like it's half-half, or it's a massive part of the Warp, or just like a tiny fraction island, and the rest is just the Warp warping around, all the energy going wild, and not really any, construct maybe. Or is it more like a pocket dimension, that sort of stuff?
Chaos gods. Khorne, the god of combat, murder, and slaughter, with a pile of souls taken in his name. Tzeentch, god of change, mystery, and deceit, a confusing paradox of lies, schemes, and sorceries. And Nurgle, god of rot,
I love him.
And
He's my favorite.
Impact. All things rot in the end. And Grandfather Nurgle is waiting for you.
Was that some kind of meme? Is that... What was that? I don't get it. Why Genshin Impact?
With open arms. These gods ruled their respective realm in the Warp, sending their many followers against each other in the great game to be the most powerful of all the gods. So the Warp exists. Hell is real, parallel to our galaxy, with the realm of chaos and its gods fighting for control. But there are also gods of real space, gods of the normal world too. They're called Catan, and they eat stars.
Do you think
like Galactus?
God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
I thought there were, these guys, they put like, the Necrons put them in like batteries, but are they huge? Like, if they eat stars, are they fucking enormous like Galactus? Or I don't get something here.
These star gods saw the plight of our poor Necron tier and how the old ones cast them aside and said, you know what? You guys want immortality? Oh, we will make it happen. We are the gods of the tangible, of real space. We can give you a cure. So then they ate all their souls.
Yeah, I remember that part.
And turned them into robotic automaton, feasting on their souls and leaving a hollow shell of an intelligence left that is technically immortal. With the power of an entire species' souls, they turned their new robotic slaves on the old ones and hunted them to extinction. The Necron tier, now the soulless, undying Necrons, got their wish at the price of their souls. But we can count the number of kind gods on an amputated hand. With time, the selfish star gods turned on each other, fighting one another for more chances at glory and power. With this, the leader of the Necrons, Zarek, the Silent King, the man who doomed his species when he accepted this deal, waited, planned, bide his time until he seized the perfect moment and turned his legions of undead citizens against the star gods. Gods cannot be killed, but they can be broken. So Zarek broke the star gods into thousands of pieces and...
So just little question, Tzeentch is the, he is the god of scheming, the god of plotting. Would he have gotten like a super power boost from these, plots, or the super betrayal basically? Because that was like the biggest war that ever happened, the war in heaven. So would he be supercharged from this ultimate plot to bring down the gods? Possibly, I don't know.
Locked them away in vaults, taking their free will away as they did to them, and sealed them away as basically Pokemon to be used as weapons in the future.
Okay, dude.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Pikachu!
No, it's not.
It's the Void Dragon!
Zarek then, with his perfect memory, exiled himself for his sins, flying out to the darkness between galaxies to atone for what he had done. This entire situation, the genocide of the Old Ones and the rebellion of Zarek, will go down in history as the War in Heaven. It is the most brutal war the galaxy has ever seen and ever will see. This was a conflict that took an entire galaxy-spanning species and pitted them against gods that ate stars. The Necrons, rather crippled from, you know, the War in Heaven, decide to go to sleep in gigantic tomb worlds on various planets until the upstart species of the galaxy died out. And so turns out when you have a war that lasts tens, hundreds of thousands of years and involves the genociding of multiple species, the Old Ones of the galaxy, and the consumption of souls from an entire race, the warp gets a little wacky. You know, if you had a kiddie pool and it was nice and calm, Khorne is over there splashing about, so you don't really go in that direction. Nurgle has explosive diarrhea, so you don't really go in that direction either. But you can still kind of get in the pool. The pool is still fine. Turns out when you add a couple trillion souls to that kiddie pool, it'll make the waves a little more turbulent. And turns out a lot of them like to pick a side, Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Khorne. So the once calmer warp, the once relaxing kiddie pool, has now been bloated. A million years of war will certainly make Khorne, god of murder and slaughter, more powerful. A million years of war will probably make Tzeentch, god of deception and change, a little more powerful. And good God, a million years of war will make Nurgle, god of decay, oh, just the tiniest bit more powerful. Now, entering that kiddie pool is no longer fun, it's dangerous. The warp is now a problem.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hell is resembling hell a lot closer to what we imagined it originally. The Sea of Souls and the Realm of Chaos are now intertwined. So who else to brave the galaxy?
That's good. I always, thought the realm was always this crazy, spooky, and I didn't know that the war in heaven, made it like, real hell. So it escalated everything. Basically, it spiraled out of control. That was a cool detail. I like that.
Let's see. Then a species that won't need to deal with that.
Space elves.
The Eldar are space elves. They have a lot of the traits that you probably think of when you think of elves. Tall, slender, pointy ears, bit more androgynous looking, no matter what DeviantArt will tell you, and a bit stronger on the emotional side. The Old Ones, as I mentioned, could create life. And when they were getting, absolutely bodied by the Catan and the Necrons, they made some new races to try to help them. One of them was the Eldar. It didn't save them, but
that reminds me a lot of the Xel'Naga from, Starcraft, because they made the Eldaris, as far, as I remember, as well as the Orcs, or it wasn't the Orcs back then, but the Orcs. And the Xel'Naga made the Zerg and the Protoss as the purity of the body and the essence. And they are kind of similar, a little bit, not fully, you know what I mean. But one is, the body, perfect body, everything. And the other one is super essence, super powerful, everything. Not fully, it's more like mind and body. But who cares? It's just sidetracked.
They're here now anyway. Oh, and also the Orcs, but they're busy right now. The Eldar are a particularly psychically powerful race. So they were really adept at being able to handle the new turbulent warp of chaos and good at killing Necrons, hence why they went to sleep. Being psychically gifted is basically like being a wizard, but you get your wizard powers from hell. This is called being a psyker. And basically, if you want to do cool wizard shit like lightning from your hands or reading someone's mind, you can do that, but you siphon the energy to do that from the warp. Luckily, the Eldar are very good at handling this without too many negative effects because, summoning power from the Sea of Souls with the new Chaos friends can be a bit of an issue. But Eldar are pretty good at it. And you
Always
see what's really
summon
cool
demons.
and also awful about Warhammer is that most developed species travel long, faster than light distances by going through that warp. They create a tear in reality to unreality and move through it. Faster than light travel? Cringe. We go through hell itself to deliver your packages. For those of you who play Minecraft, you know how the nether is like a pocket dimension? So moving 10 spaces in the nether is actually moving something like 1,000 in the real world. That's basically what warp travel is. Just much like in the nether, there are a lot of things that want to kill you. The Eldar found a way to do so in between realities. Not regular reality, not the warp, something else. A purgatory of sorts, a fabricated psychic realm that allowed them to travel without fearing the negative effects of the warp. The Eldar were the
basically
perfect
Stargates
fit for the new galaxy,
right?
And they took it with open arms and pointy ears. The empire of the Eldar spread everywhere, and it spread all the way until now. The 21st century. That's right. While you were watching NPC streams on TikTok, the space elves were ruling the galaxy, and they did so for quite a long period of time. The 21st century came and went. Humanity grew and grew, all under the nose of their elf overlords. At this time, humans advanced, your classic sci-fi style way. We began to expand, colonize our solar system, terraformed our planets, created new and more powerful machines and starships. The age of Terra, also known as Earth, but we call it Terra here, was here and existed between the 21st century.
You know, I never liked that. In Starcraft, it's called Earth, but you say Terrans. That just makes no sense. I know that Terra is another word for Earth, you know, but it just is stupid. I don't know. I don't like it.
All the way until the 15th millennia. Not much is known about this time. Not much needs to be known. Humanity grew up, sought the stars. It's classic. Then came the years between 15,000 and 25,000, the age of technology, or to some, the dark age of technology. Yes. This is when humanity reached a new apex of technological understanding. When you think of sci-fi, there's a lot of things you can think of. Star Trek, maybe Star Wars style. You can go cyberpunk dystopian. The age of technology was deep sci-fi,
so good, I played.
like a scientific prowess that fringed on magic. This is also when the first ever psychers began showing up in humanity. Individuals with the genetic mutation to be able to access the warp and then, because of that, travel through it. Humanity was no longer constricted to their early ways of travel. With warp travel, they could go anywhere in the galaxy. They equipped ships with gigantic AI machines, with everything you would ever need to know about mankind, and sent them out on colony ships to expand their influence across the galaxy. This was truly the golden age of humanity. And with every golden age, there is a fall. While the new human upstarts of the galaxy were reaching new levels of technology and prowess, the Eldar were engaging in
debauchery.
What happens when a species has everything? You can produce unlimited food out of nothing. Your need for farmers and workers, gone. You have dominated the stars and have created a fast travel system that doesn't rely on the dangers of the warp. You have nothing else to do.
Bread and circuses.
No problems.
Bread.
And feel as if there is nowhere else to go. Well, you begin to experiment. The Eldar started harmless enough. You know, you take a serious interest in your species' culture, your arts, paintings, poems, plays. These are Eldar, elves, remember? Their emotions are heightened, more powerful than us humans. So your plays get louder. They start to push on the limits of your hearing ability.
That's a little scary, you know, like the modern media. You need more and more and more to entertain you, and you want more extreme content and crazier content, more content, always more. And then we're heading that way. I'm scared.
Your music becomes different, more deranged. It pushes the boundaries of what is art. The visual spectacle of art becomes more bizarre, more delusional, more eccentric. And let's not forget a very important sense, touch. Pornography is one thing. Brothels is another. What if they all mixed? What if your brothels were part of your art and music? And what if those became more deranged? The boundaries of debauchery were not just met, but shattered. Next thing you know, murder is commonplace and often mixed with the art, music, and sex. Pain is a common byproduct of entertainment. Whatever sensation you can have must be increased, must be enhanced, must be taken to the limits. The Eldar Empire slipped into a nightmarish realm of debauchery and excess, with the worst of it taking place in a city in the Webway, a black market for these kinds of heinous acts known as Kamara. Some Eldar saw the writing on the wall, saw what was happening to their species and how far they had slipped. So they boarded continent-sized starships called craft worlds and left their empire, seeking a more enlightened, calmer existence among their peers. Some, those in Kamara, pushed it to even greater heights, relishing the pain and torment they inflicted on those around them. All during this, the warp, the yin to the yang of the world, was fed by these emotions, by the psychic power of the Eldar, by the souls taken in these depraved acts on a galactic scale. And just like that, Eldar ended. Slaanesh, the fourth Chaos God, was birthed into existence and consumed the souls of 90% of the Eldar population. Those that fled were spared the worst of it, and those in the Webway and Kamara were able to stave off the pull of Slaanesh so long as they continued to commit horrid acts of torture and violence. But for the majority of the Eldar, their empire died with Slaanesh's birth. The new fourth Chaos God, she who thirsts, the god of unspeakable excess of pleasure, pain, hedonism, and perfection, had been born. With the fall of the Eldar Empire came the ruin of humanity. Slaanesh's birth sent storms in the warp across the galaxy, making travel between star systems impossible. Coupled with a huge classic AI rebellion, as a staple in these sci-fi settings, humanity began to suffer the age of strife. Now, planets that relied on intergalactic travel were completely cut off. Long-range messages, normally sent through the warp, were snuffed out. If you were a planet that was great at mining stuff, but couldn't get food, well, you know that movie about the rugby players in the mountains? Oh, and because of these insane warp storms and fluctuations, psykers began to appear among the human population a bit more often. Now, this initially had them hunted down as witches, because that's pretty common in this setting, but some deemed it right to protect them. Unfortunately for those people, psykers, because they open a gateway to the warp, don't really know how to use their powers well, and they kind of attract demons, who then force their way through the psyker as a conduit of sorts and begin to slaughter the population of your planet. The Age of Strife was a catastrophic period of time for humanity and set back their progress tenfold over the not one, not two, but 5,000 year period. During this time, the age of humanity that we know began to form. Worlds equipped with large mechs for agriculture began to equip them with weapons to defend from alien and demonic invaders. Over 5,000 years, this became a custom and tradition, dubbing them as night worlds, a feudal society of honor-bound knights in gigantic robots that uphold the chivalric code to defend their worlds and honor. A group of individuals on Mars, after radioactively bombing their planet to become inhospitable to human life, ran their entire lives underground on the few life support systems keeping them alive. Those technicians who could work on the machines and keep them operational were revered, and over 5,000 years went from skilled members of society to full-blown priests. The cult Mechanicus, or tech priests of Mars, formed in the ashes of the Red Planet with a religious fervor and doctrine on the cult of the machine god. And on Earth, or Terra, techno-barbarian tribes waged war across the planet in a Mad Max style of blood and gore, until finally, a mysterious man who lived in the shadows of Terra for millennia finally revealed himself to the populace. His name was the Emperor. He deemed himself the Emperor of mankind. Where did he come from? I don't know. Why is he 10 feet tall and the most powerful psyker of all of mankind? I don't know. Why is he basically immortal? I don't know. Where'd Cotton Eye Joe go? Who knows? But he's here, and he isn't happy with all of you ripping up Terra. So
I don't know, man. I still can't get behind, you know, a 10-foot guy in the shadows, you know, nobody ever saw him. Ooh, he would be like, I don't know, like a lighthouse. Everyone would see him and he would be in everyone's eye. I don't get it. I mean, maybe he was sent, you know, as an emissary. I don't know. I still don't get why they don't give more information on that or just hint. I would love to have more explanations, but I guess everyone wants them. yeah, understandable. Okay, never mind.
Began the Unification Wars, where he and a very early version of the famous Space Marines, the Thunder Warriors, reunited Terra under a single banner. With blood. Then, after taking over Earth, he reunited the Thunder Warriors into the fucking dirt. This is where we get the Imperium of Man, also known as the Imperium. The new faction headed by the Emperor of Mankind, with a treaty signed with the Cult Mechanicus on Mars to spread out and reunite humanity after the catastrophic Age of Strife. But first, the Emperor is going to need some smaller versions of himself. 20 of them, 18 of them, I meant, gene-crafted sons of the strongest human to ever live. All of them possess unparalleled strategic power, intelligence, formidable strength and size, a real powerful force to unite humanity and stop the chaos of the current galaxy. Speaking of chaos, you ever seen that image of that guy? It's like throwing the baby.
Also, because he's a 20 or 18, you know what I mean? I didn't really get, there is I think the 20th Legion, there's Alpha and Omega, but they're twins, but they're technically two, so isn't it 21, or is it some kind of, you know, it counts as one, but it's really two, or is it a clone? I didn't really get Alpha and Omega. That was very confusing for me when I saw that.
Like a basketball. It's about what happened. The Chaos Gods intervened and grabbed the 18 Primarch gestation pods and yeeted them across the galaxy at a whim, everywhere they could possibly go. A galactic game of keep away. So the Emperor had to get them back. So begins the Great Crusade, a crusade across the stars to reunite not just humanity, but the Emperor with his fallen sons. The first to be found was Horus. One of the strongest and most noble sons. The Emperor carried with him a legion of newly crafted warriors with genetic material made from their Primarch father. These are the newly made Space Marines. For Horus, his were the Luna Wolves. And as the Emperor continued on his great crusade, he found more and more of his sons, reuniting them with their individual Space Marine legions. Leman Russ, the cunning hunter with the Space Wolves. Rogel Dorm, the Phalanx with the Imperial Fists. Angron, the Barbarian, the very angry with his World Eaters. Fulgrim, the Perfect with his Emperor's children. And Jagatai Khan, the Swift, the Stoic, and his white scars. Those were just some of the 18, and one by one his lost Primarch sons were returned to him, and their Space Marine legions returned to them. The Great Crusade saw humanity once again reconquer the stars, returning worlds of humanity back to the Imperium and killing any and all who stood against their noble crusade. But in the years of the 31st millennia, treachery would break this all apart.
Pictures are so sick.
We don't know what we did. Horus, the Emperor's most beloved and favored sons, named War Master for the Crusade, succumbed to the power of chaos and daddy issues, all because of that bastard Erebus. Yo, fuck Erebus. Slowly, Horus would become corrupted, turning the Emperor's sons against him. This begins the most pivotal moment in our story, and the one that has like 50 books written about it. The Horus Heresy.
Horus did nothing wrong.
9 of the 18 Primarchs turned against the Emperor, and the following
betrayed
years
by
were
the
a
Emperor.
bloody battle for the throne of
So it is.
Terra. The Emperor originally was working on a special webway project, just like the Eldar, to make faster-than-light travel significantly easier and safer. Really improve humanity to allow them to conquer the stars without the risk of the warp. Well, this big red idiot named Magnus kind of blew a hole into that, literally and figuratively. So Big E over there
What
is
an
stuck
idiot.
on a gigantic golden throne, holding back the oncoming rush of demons and powering the Astronomicon, basically a big North Star for people who are sailing in the warp to help them navigate. The Horus Heresy saw many loyalist and traitor legions pitted against each other in a bloody war until it reached Terra itself. Horus, unable to break through the lines and with time running out, made a gambit and opened his ship up to be boarded. The Emperor took this challenge, quickly allowing someone else to take control of the throne as he teleported his way onto Horus's flagship.
Who even could take control of the throne? I thought he was the only one who can. Was it one of his sons or
The Vengeful Spirit. The Emperor, unable to truly kill his most beloved son, changed his mind right quick when Horus strangled the life out of his other son,
Vampire
Sanguinus.
Boy?
Oh no!
I'm sure you've seen this image at some
Yes.
point. The Emperor then said,
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
and proceeded to psychically blast Horus into complete oblivion, killing not only his body, but also his soul. Horribly wounded from this duel, the Emperor is
Horus.
returned to the Golden Throne in order to keep the demons at bay and power the Astronomicon, because without it, humanity would be flying blind. There he sits, slowly dying from his wounds and the strain of powering the Golden Throne. The only thing keeping him alive
fucked up.
is feeding upon the souls of 1,000 Psykers every single day. This was 10,000 years ago. We are now in the 41st millennium, modern day. Warhammer 40,000.
Yes.
The Emperor remains on his throne. The Imperium is a rotting carcass of an empire, a fascist, xenophobic cult that worships the Emperor as a deity despite him never wanting to be seen as a god. Over the span of 1 million worlds, the
Pope.
ecclesiarchy, the church of the Emperor, is spread throughout. Inquisitors with unparalleled power root out any sign of heresy or lack of devotion to their god Emperor. The other half of the traitor legions move about as Chaos Space Marines, raiding and pillaging the Imperium, while the loyalist half does their best to keep the Empire alive. All throughout this, they must endure Orc invasions, Eldar trickery, the
Mushrooms.
reawakening of the Necron race, and the Great Devourer, the newest tyrannid threat from the darkness between galaxies that has arrived to feast
Only
on
good
their
ones.
worlds.
You're good.
The
No
theme
evil.
of Warhammer 40,000 is regression and intolerance. Every
That's what I
major
need, man.
faction in Warhammer has had an empire that spanned the galaxy only to be crushed back to a hollow shell of what they once were due to their own failings. Culture, the arts, personal freedom, religious tolerance, the simple possibility that alien life might not want to kill us is considered heretical and is often met with a pistol to the head. There is no
Good.
time for these things. All there is time for is worship of the God Emperor and a million wars to be fought. To be
That's what's
a
so good
human
about
in
it.
the 41st millennia is 99% of the time to live a horrible existence. To be one
All
of
badass.
trillions of other humans across a million worlds throughout the galaxy. A galaxy where AI is outlawed, so humans are repurposed and lobotomized to become slaves. A place where lack of devotion is met with death.
Oh yeah, another little question. Someone told me they're even putting brains indoors. Is that true? Like, you could just use a mechanism, you know? Are they really putting people indoors? Like, their only job is to open the door? That reminds me of the one guy who only, you know, serves butter. And damn, that's depressing.
And if you even have devotion, there is a good chance the threats to the galaxy, chaos, and aliens will kill you anyway. Warhammer is a world where you revel in being bad. There are protagonists, there are antagonists, but every faction is some shade of evil. Because playing the bad guys is always more fun. And my friend, you have a selection. So pick up that lasgun soldier, you and the other 3 million men and women in this single deployment on this single world in this single battle will now show them the might of the God Emperor. That weapon in your hands has killed 99% of the alien populations in this galaxy. Unfortunately for you, soldier, you're fighting the final 1%. May the Emperor be with us. Glory to the first man to die, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
Man, that stuff is so sick. You have to love it, you know? Damn, the imagery, all that stuff. The worst thing about Warhammer is the best thing about it. There's so many interesting factions, everything going on. It's amazing and annoying because you can't get it all into your damn brain.
Thank you, everyone. I hope I have helped teach you about Warhammer. If you are a brand new person and you want to get a bit more about the world, there are multiple books that do a great job at showing off how the entire universe operates. For the most part, Warhammer is a setting, and often stories are told in that setting with a Warhammer coat of paint. Gaunt's Ghosts is Band of Brothers, but Warhammer. It's honestly one of my #1 recommendations for new people. Assassinorum Kingmaker is an assassin novel involving those night worlds. This is Mission Impossible, but Warhammer. Bloodlines is Blade Runner, but
that's
Warhammer.
my thing.
And the list goes on and on. If I had to recommend a brand new novel for a first-time Warhammer enjoyer, these are the 4 I would recommend. Horus Rising, Caiaphas Cain, First and Only Gaunt's Ghost, and Infinite and the Divine. They are all fantastic novels, and they will get you acquainted with the world without needing to know too much.
Can you get these as, you know, audiobooks? Because I have so much Audible audiobooks I can get, and I'm a pretty big audiobook kind of guy. I'm not that big in getting the book and reading it. I did that in the past, but I haven't done it in forever. It's embarrassing, honestly. I haven't read a book in
Thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself a Gamer Subs flavor. Enjoy the new sweet 6-pack. And if you're curious and you want, you know, just a little Lord, you can find him in the description as well on my merchandise store, Orchid8.com.
He's doing so good.
Thank you for watching, and may the God Emperor be with us.
Damn, another amazing video by Bricky. I had so many questions, and I learned a couple of new things and got refreshed on a lot of them. So that was very, very good. Especially before I watched this video, I didn't refresh, you know, my knowledge. I didn't brush up. I thought getting straight into it would be the best. I will brush up on a lot of stuff I haven't gotten to in a long time. So I will do that. I will go back up to speed. But this video was really, really good to get me there. You know, all the great imagery, all his jokes and stuff. It just makes it easy to get into Warhammer. You know, not very easy, but you know what I mean. It makes it approachable. Warhammer 40k often feels like a behemoth. You start it, you see it, and you're just intimidated. You kind of don't want to get into it because it's so much behind it. It's like, I don't know, the Lord of the Rings iceberg, where you start, you know, you watch a movie and then, okay, that's all the lore behind it. All the stuff, the worlds behind it, all of that stuff going on. And that's just a fraction, you know, a fraction of what just Warhammer has. It's honestly amazing how much there is to know about Warhammer. But it also makes it hard, intimidating. I don't know, it's just... It feels rough to get into it. Then the figures, very costly, you know. It isn't easy. It isn't, I don't know, it's just hard. It feels unapproachable from the outside, I would say. That is what I heard from a lot of people when I asked them if they know what Warhammer is or have they heard of it, what do they think about it. I hear often unapproachable or so big, I don't really have a clue, or someone has played a game about it, doesn't even know because of the licensing and how that works. So it is cool that they have ways to approach it, but if you get there and then you know what is behind it, it just makes it hard. But it also makes it very, very interesting. And for me, I often dig myself, into a hole, and if I find something I'm interested in, I start really, really getting into it. If back when I made my videos, the other ones, I wasn't interrupted by my life, basically, I would have gone into it and more and more and more, what I'm slowly doing now again. And then I go really deep into stuff. I read up on stuff. I really get into it. Usually, I get into a game and then I play that game and then play out of that game. I put 35,000 hours into WoW, roundabout, more or less, 5K in another MMO, like 3K in another MMO. I was a long-time MMO player and I went hard on what I like. And that often comes to haunt me, but sometimes, sometimes those little, a bit autistic traits maybe can be quite useful. And I think it will be when it comes to Warhammer. So I don't want to keep you any longer. Thank you for watching. I have already a lot to think about and I will flesh out my thoughts a bit more. Maybe rewatch a couple of the older videos, brush up right after that, and maybe get into reading the Divine book. That really looked interesting, especially because the Necrons are super... you know what? I stop rambling now. Thank you for watching. It was a lot of fun, and I see you in the next one. Bye.
In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium exists the Empire of Man, a backwards carcass of an empire comprised of many devoted forces, gigantic robot knights, religious machine cultists, and incredibly heavily armored women, most likely with sweltering abs. And one must know what those abs taste like.
On brand. Oh, it's its flavor. Yeah, I get it. Damn, he loves that one, huh?
My Gamer Supps flavor is here. Sweet six-pack has arrived. A delicious and refreshing
I'm so happy for him. That's great.
Blend. Play the sound.
Also, just, fun fact, I actually got that one because, I watched all his videos and he got me into the whole thing and it supports the creator, so I thought, why not? I tried it and it's actually pretty good. It's mostly for me, I would say, summer. I would drink it in the summer. It's not so much winter stuff for me, but in the summer, it's pretty refreshing, pretty good. I liked it. Wait a second. There it is. I actually got it. I still got it here with me. I haven't fully, cleaned it out. I'm not that fast with that kind of stuff. I don't drink that much, but it's pretty good. I liked it. It was very good in the summer. Summer was so hot. It was so annoying. But it got me through it. It helped. It helped, actually. And it supported him, so... I enjoyed it, and I'm so happy for him that it worked all out. It's great to have stuff like that.
Yes, my Bricky's official Gamer Supps flavor is here. Sweet six-pack, not only in regular energy mode, but also in caffeine-free.
Yeah, I got that one.
The pineapple flavor is not the kind of flavor that just smacks you in the face. It is light, it is refreshing, and it's one of those things where you sip it and you go, Not bad. And next thing you know, you are having your 4th refill the same day. And it is available
really on brand for him.
now.
He
Link
loves that
in
stuff.
the description. Use code Bricky for 10% off your entire order. Not just for this, but 10%. For everything you buy. And I'm not dumb. If you buy any of these tubs, regular, caffeine-free of my sweet 6-pack flavor, you will get a Muscle Girl 32-ounce shaker completely for free. There are
actually
only
didn't
a
got that
couple
one.
thousand of those shakers.
Was too
so
late.
Get it while supplies
what
lasts. I cannot believe we finally have this, but I told everyone, like, once you find out the flavor, you'll be like, yeah, that tracks. And damn straight does it track. Sweet 6-pack available now. Code Bricky, link in the description.
Get it.